Greetings everyone, welcome to another lesson of prepositional collocation, and here we are going to examine the use of across and over. So this is by me, Abhinavanan. This is about me. I'm pursuing English Honours from University of Delhi, a football lover, a poet and a traveller. Please do not forget the 3 R's in one S, that is to rate, review, recommend and share my videos, and if you have anything to mention, do mention it in the comment section below. So let's begin. Across and over. So these are the two prepositions that we are going to learn about in this particular video. So without much ado, let's begin. Across and over used to talk about a position on the other side. So both of these prepositions are actually used in order to talk about the position on the other side. So when we use these two prepositions, we must have two sides and a boundary or anything of that kind that divides the two sides. So, for example, if you look at this picture, so the sheep is actually crossing over or crossing across this hedge. This is the hedge. So this is the first side, this is the second side, and this is the boundary. So when we use this kind of preposition, we need to have these three things, and whenever we have these three things, we can use these prepositions. So let's see the example. Getting to the other side of the bridge, road, border, river, etc. So if this kind of movement is involved, then we are supposed to use these two prepositions, across and over. So let's see the examples. The truck came towards them across/over the bridge. So either of these two can be done. Mike lives in a house across/over the roads from ours. So Mike lives in a house across the road from ours is more appropriate than over the road, because over, as we will see in the next slide, basically conveys a movement which is above the other thing. So that is why across here becomes more apt. Once she was across/over the border, she will be safe. So it depends on what kind of border is being talked about. If the border is made of fences, so across becomes more important, and if a border is just a border and it's just a path, a road, then across becomes more important. So you'll see how with the place, with the kind of boundary that is there in between the two sides, actually go on to change the use of these words. So we have to examine clearly as to what kind of boundary is between these two sides about which we are talking. Moving on, across and over. We use over rather than across when we talk about reaching the other side of something that is high, the thing that I just told you. So over is used in that sense, where we talk about reaching the other side of something that is high, like we talked about in the previous example, like if there is a fence that is high, so in order to cross that border, that is the fence, one has to cross over it. So there, over will be used instead of across. Example, he hurt his leg as he jumped over the wall. So since this wall is high, so we are not going to use across here, but we are going to use over instead of across. The railway goes through a tunnel rather than over the top of the mountain. So over the top of the mountain then again brings this idea of height, because mountain is high. So here we cannot use across the mountain because there's height included here. So let's see what when we use across instead of over. When we are talking about something we think as a flat surface or an area such as a country or sea, we use across rather than over. So if something is high, then we have seen that we use over. But what happens if something is a flat surface or an area of country such as a country or sea. So in that case, we use across rather than over. For example, he suddenly saw Sue across the room. So this idea that the room must be in the house and the room must be on a flat surface. So we use across, not over. The program was broadcast across Australia. Again, in the case of country or sea, we use across. We don't say over Arabian Sea, but we say across Arabian Sea. The oil was spilled across Arabian Sea, not over Arabian Sea. So that is the case. Moving on, across and over. Notice that we can say all over, but not usually all across. Instead, we prefer right across. So this prepositional collocation that we are all focusing on, so it becomes a part of this. So what happens that we say that for example, if there is oil spill, take for example oil spill all over the area, I mean all over the surface. So we say that the oil spill is there all over the surface of the ground or surface of the room, but we do not say if there is something lying across a table. So we don't say that it's all across the table. That will be wrong. We say instead right across the table. So that is more apt in case of across. So for example, the disease has now spread all over the world or right across the world. So either we say all over the world. So if we are covering a larger area, then we can use either all over, or if you don't want to use over, then you have to use right across instead of all across. So I hope this point is pretty clear. So from this picture we can see that this car is passing across this bridge, because the bridge is obviously elevated, but the surface of the bridge is flat, and the movement that is happening because of it is a linear propulsive movement and not an upward movement. So we have to be very careful as to what kind of movement is there, what kind of barrier is there. So all of this must be kept in mind while using these two words, over and across, which are usually used interchangeably by most of us without realizing as to where over is used and where across is used. So one must keep this in mind while using over and across. So that's it for this lesson. I hope to see you all in the next lesson. Till then, take care and bye bye.